SABC, DINEL, ESCOM, and other financially challenged state-owned enterprises have increased, with several requesting state support just to continue operating. Isn't it about time that the country asks itself the question, do we still need all these enterprises? If we do, can we manage them better? If we don't need them, what should we do? Oh, I see. Parts of the House like to say another. Okay. Madam Speaker, I said in October that we would have no holy cows when it comes to our support to state-owned enterprises. In the State of the Nation address, the President announced a clear and executable plan for electricity. At the core of this plan is the subdivision of ESCOM into 3 independent components. This will set the electricity market on a new trajectory and allow for more competition, transparency, and a focused funding model. Pouring money directly into ESCOM in its current form is not sustainable. I want to make it clear, the national government is not taking on ESCOM's debt. Let me repeat that. I want to make it clear, the national government is not taking on ESCOM's debt. ESCOM took debt in the first place. It must ultimately repay it. We are setting aside 23 billion rand a year to financially support ESCOM during its reconfiguration. The fiscal support, this is very important, the fiscal support is conditional on the appointment of an independent chief reorganization officer who will be jointly appointed by the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Public Enterprises, with a very clear mandate of delivering on the recommendations of the Presidential Task Team. We will make the necessary announcements in this regard in the coming weeks. Minister Gordhan and the strong team he has built at the Department of Public Enterprises will continue to exercise close and ongoing monitoring of ESCOM, its governance and operations. On the other state-owned enterprises, we are reviewing our framework on how we support them. Government has revised the contingency reserve upwards to 13 billion rand for 2019-2020 to respond to possible requests for financial support. This is, however, not automatic. Financial support will be based on the strategic need, but also on whether we can afford it. During this past financial year, total guarantee utilization increased by 51.1 billion rand. ESCOM used an additional 50 billion rand of its 350 billion guarantee in 2018-19. DINEL was granted a further 1 billion rand guarantee. The SAA guaranteed debt increased by 6.2 billion rand. However, there's always something shining from Africa. My congratulations go to the Land Bank, which repaid its debt, reducing government's guarantee exposure. There are other entities as well which reduce their guarantees, unfortunately in some of the cases as a result of appropriations. We must tighten the guarantee rules going forward. If a state-owned enterprise applies for a government guarantee for operational purposes, it will be required to appoint the CRO, as I mentioned before. And these things are normal. In the private sector, if the executive and the board are unable to get the organization going, the banks would appoint a chief restructuring officer. The eyes and ears of the shareholder, very important. So, as I said, this is normal practice in the private sector, and we are going to introduce that. It is the same when provincial and municipal finances are in disarray. Government can take over the running of the administration. These rules should also apply to all state-owned enterprises. Cabinet is considering a proposal to end the issue of guarantees for operational expenses. Expiration dates on guarantees will also be strictly enforced. As the President announced, strategic equity partners will be found where feasible and possible. To summarize, in this coming year, we expect revenues to be about 1.58 trillion rand. And spending is going to be slightly higher. That means we will spend 248 billion more than what we earn. Put another way, we are borrowing about 1.2 billion rand every day, assuming that we don't borrow money on the weekends because of the Soweto Derby. This coming year, interest expenditures will be 209.4 billion rand. This is 1 billion rand per day. The expenditure and tax adjustments are designed to largely counteract the additional allocation for ESCOM and the revenue shortfall. As a result, gross national debt will still stabilize at about 60% of GDP in 2023-24, broadly in line with our October forecast. We are masters of our destiny. We are not petitioners. Our determination to regain our fiscal prudence will form the basis of our economic recovery. We will be on our way back to the plum years of Minister Manya. As we face the future, I'm reminded of the words of one of the continent's independence leaders, Ghana's President Kwame Nkrumah. He said, I quote, the task ahead is great indeed. The heavy is the responsibility. And yet, it is a noble and glorious challenge. A challenge which calls for the courage to dream, the courage to believe, the courage to dare, the courage to do, the courage to envision, the courage to fight, the courage to work, the courage to believe, to achieve the highest excellencies and the fullest greatness of people. Dare we ask for more in life, unquote. Restoring our finances and fixing our state-owned enterprises will take a lot of courage, but it can be done. Madam Speaker, the budget remains redistributive. Taxes raised in wealthier areas fund poorer provinces and municipalities. In this budget, 47.9% of nationally raised funds are allocated to national government, 43% to provinces, and 9.1% to local government over the medium term, after providing for debt service costs and the contingency reserve.